Recently, I have seen conversations on Threads and X or Twitter about opting out of data brokers' sites. Now, of course, it piqued my interest because I do a lot of research into the topic of privacy, but also ways to reliably remove your data from the internet. And sometimes I see information that is misleading or it doesn't quite work anymore these days. It might be kind of old news. Part of the reason I decided to rewrite my entire 30-day security challenge is because of this. The information needs to be fresh because the original videos I made way back in 2017 are now out of date. And when the patches that we use for our privacy no longer work, you need to course correct by changing what you do. Now, if this is your first time here, we are going to debunk some rumors, and I will show you an easier way to privacy via my channel sponsor, which is DeleteMe. This video is being produced in partnership with DeleteMe, and it's a part of my security and privacy series. I also have a great discount that you can use on DeleteMe in case you're like me and adulting takes up most of your time these days and you don't have any time to opt out of data broker sites manually. More on that later, but TLDR, go to joindeleteme.com/Morse code to get 20% off. What's up, s'mores? I'm Shannon Morse, and today we need to talk about why just opt out is somewhat misleading privacy advice that seems to be floating around right now, why it doesn't actually work long term, and what you should be doing instead if you want your personal information off the internet. Now, the quote that I've been hearing is just opt out of data broker sites, which is cool. That sounds really easy, except it's not at all. And if you have ever tried opting out yourself manually, you already know how time consuming and annoying it can be. I have tested this theory myself and I can speak from experience. So TLDR, what are these data brokers? If this is your first time here, I will explain it, but if you have been around for a while, you know that I have learned myself all about data brokers. So data brokers are companies that collect, package, and they sell your personal information all about you. Your name, your home address, your phone number, your email address, your past addresses, like physical home addresses, your relatives, who you're related to, and you can click onto their profiles and see all their information. And sometimes even where you work or how old you are, your birthday, etc. They put all this information into a nice little pretty profile, nice and clean. It's easily searchable, publicly facing databases that anybody can use. Maybe you're not worried about stalkers, but the people that can see it could include stalkers, or maybe you have a mad ex, or your boss might be snooping on you, other companies, marketers, phishers, scammers, even hackers and malicious actors. And the important thing here is that you did not sign up for this. You didn't consent to your data showing up on these public websites. It's just there, which is very, very intrusive, right? So these companies pull information from all sorts of places. They might find it on public records or purchases that you've made. Loyalty programs, like your grocery store, if they have a loyalty program that gives you coupons, they could purchase your information from those loyalty programs. Different apps that you might download and install. Breaches, other data brokers who are selling your data back and forth to each other in an endless loop cycle. So when somebody tells you just opt out, what they are really saying is go clean up a mess that you didn't create across dozens and dozens of websites, possibly hundreds, using systems that are designed to totally wear you down and just get you annoyed, which is not great. So on the surface, opting out sounds very reasonable. A quick search of your name, you find a people search site like a data broker, you scroll all the way to the bottom and attempt to find some kind of tiny link that says something like, do not sell my personal information, or opt out, or delete this profile. And then you click on it, you fill out some kind of form, and you think, all right, cool, I'm done, problem solved, except that's just the beginning. So there are 3 different problems that you might run into whenever trying to opt out manually from these sites. Some of them make it very, very easy and you can do it pretty quickly, but a lot of them do not do so. But first, before I get into all those different steps, a subscribe would mean so much to me. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel using the subscribe button right below this video, and it helps out my channel a lot more than you think. Problem number 1, every site is gonna be different. So here's the first big problem with the just opt out advice that I have been seeing. There is no standard process across all these different data brokers because they're all owned by different companies. Every single data broker handles opt outs differently. Some want your full name and address, Some make you solve multiple CAPTCHAs, and sometimes those CAPTCHAs don't even work right, or maybe they are really hard to read, or they're barely legible. So some require you to email them from a specific address. Some might even ask for a copy of your government ID. And yes, some actually make you create an account on their data broker website in order to delete your account, which sounds incredibly sketchy. The unfortunate part is if you miss a step or you make a mistake, they may not help at all and they may never delete your data. Now, problem number 2, your data comes back. So let's say that you are going through all these steps, you opted out successfully, yay, good job, you feel accomplished, you close your laptop and you think, all right, privacy goals, check it off my list, I did my duty, awesome, I am ready for the new year. But let's just say you check back in 6 months and tell me if your data is still gone from that data broker, because surprise, it probably got repopulated. It probably showed up again. Your data does not stay gone. Data brokers constantly recollect information from public records, new purchases, app data, other brokers, which is also why I like to say poison data, like put fake data on the internet so eventually all your data is false out there on those data brokers. Even if your information is removed today, there's a very real chance that it will quietly reappear weeks or months later. And nobody's gonna notify you whenever that happens. Of course they wouldn't. So it's kind of like you're playing whack-a-mole with all these different data broker sites. And unless you've got hours and hours of free time every single month to pop into your computer and check all those different sites, chances are your data is going to be chilling online at some point for people to find. So problem 3, there are way too many sites. Now, most people think that there are maybe a handful of data broker sites, and yes, there are a few big ones that come to mind because they're gonna be the first ones that show up whenever you do a Google search result. But in reality, there are well into the hundreds now, and new ones appear all the time. Sometimes, if a site is caught doing something illegal, which has happened in the past, they may disappear, but one day they will reappear under a different name and have a brand new data broker website. Even if you spend hours opting out of the biggest names, there's this long list of smaller brokers you've never heard of that still have your information, and they all sell it to each other. So you opt out of one site, another one buys your data from somewhere else, and that cycle just continues on and on. This is why so many people just give up halfway through. It's not because they don't care about privacy, it's because the system is designed to exhaust you. And this is not just annoying, it's also extremely dangerous. Data broker information fuels phishing attacks, SIM swap scams, stalking, identity theft, social engineering attacks. Attackers do not need everything about you, they just need enough of a profile to form these attacks. And in 2025 and going into 2026, that problem is worse than ever. AI has made scraped data more valuable, scams more convincing, and the US still has very little meaningful regulation stopping this industry from operating the way it does. So no, saying just opt out is not gonna cut it anymore. And this is why continuous removal matters and why I have recommended DeleteMe. Instead of you manually fighting dozens and dozens of sites all by yourself, all on your own, DeleteMe handles removals across a huge network of data brokers. More importantly, they also keep on checking them, because your data comes back. DeleteMe continuously monitors those sites and they resubmit removal requests when your information reappears. That ongoing maintenance is the piece that most people miss whenever they try to do it themselves. Because privacy isn't just one of those things you can do one time and be like, one and done, I'm good to go, let me go party. It's actually something that you have to upkeep. You have to remember to do it all the time. So if I can take one of these things off of my to-do list, one of these things off my shoulders, I absolutely will. So when you sign up for DeleteMe, and I also know this from experience because I'm a customer too, you provide the information that they need to find your records. And you only have to provide it once. You also have full control over what data you tell them to look for. So if you don't want them looking for a phone number, you don't have to type in a phone number. After that, they handle the frustrating parts for you. So they submit the opt-outs, they follow up with brokers, they verify the removals, and they keep on monitoring for new listings. You get regular reports showing which sites had your data, which ones were removed, and what they are still working on. Because some of those data brokers take a little bit of time to actually remove remove your data from those sites after receiving an opt-out request. It is so easy to sign up for an account. Like, I've had an active account since the before times when I was working on other YouTube channels as a co-host and I wasn't doing my independent channel here. I've had a DeleteMe account for a very, very long time. I just log in from time to time to keep my data updated, make sure they're finding accurate information. I also perform audits. So like if DeleteMe sends me a report and they say they deleted my data off some specific website, I will go to that site and make sure that it actually does not exist. I think that people who are content creators like me, parents, older adults, activists, if you've been a part of a data breach previously, if you own property and you have public records, if you get a ton of scam calls already, then using DeleteMe rather than opting out manually from each of these sites really does save a ton of time and it can give you less of a headache. I think it makes a really great gift too, because the person you're gifting it to gets reoccurring privacy reports from DeleteMe throughout the year that show how much time was saved, where their data was found, and where it was deleted from. So I just want to end on this little note. If you have tried opting out, you felt overwhelmed or frustrated, I've definitely been there. It's not a failure on your part. The system is intentionally exhausting to get you to give up on removing your information, because data brokers are making money off of your data. Just opt out sounds really empowering, and I love that people are talking about data brokers because this is a really important topic, but in reality, it puts all that responsibility on you to get this job done when you probably already have a full-time job and you really don't have time to do it. I believe that it's very unfair that these data brokers are allowed to continue to share our data and profit off of it with no regard to our privacy. They don't care. So that's why when I had a stalker and I was talking to my cybersecurity friends about it, that's why so many people were like, oh, you need to get an account with DeleteMe. It will help you. I think of using a service like DeleteMe as not being lazy. I think of it as being practical. It's kind of like you're delegating the task of opting out to somebody else who can do it and you can trust that they will take care of it. If you want to check them out, I will have my link and my discount code right down below. And huge thank you again to DeleteMe for being a channel sponsor and for sharing in my passion to help people protect their information. I also want to hear from you. Have you ever tried opting out yourself? Have you found all these data broker websites and did you successfully opt out manually? Or did you choose to sign up with DeleteMe instead? Did you make it all the way through, or did you rage quit halfway like I did? That's the point where I got so frustrated, I was like, can somebody else do this for me? So comment below. Thank you again so much to my s'mores for subscribing and for watching, and I'm Shannon Morse, and I'll see you soon. Bye y'all.